Yo, what is up guys? It's the Goblin and welcome back to another Fortnite Season X tips and tricks video. Tonight's video, I'm going to be analyzing this nice double-digit kill solo win I got here just yesterday on Fortnite Season 10, aka Season X or whatever you want to call it. Going to be basically talking about each and every one of these gunfights and how to win specifically your gunfights, your build fights, and your overall engagements with other players in Fortnite solos, duos, and squads, specifically solos with this match, but these tips should be able to apply to other ones. So just talking about my decision making and how each gunfight goes. So first gunfight right there, basically what started off is I hit that player for 134 with the purple tack, and while the tack shotguns, a lot of players tend to avoid them or stay away from them. I find that especially early game they can be very effective, and I did miss my first shot going into that fight, which really did cost me and ended up making me take a lot of damage. Luckily these ice cream cones, which are great on this side of Mega Mall and even on that other side, are great for healing up, so I'm able to heal up off those. But yeah, tack shotguns, they do have quite a big punch, as you can see, for hitting for 134 there in that first headshot, as long as you are close range. Smack a like on this video. Let's go ahead and go for 540 likes. If we could hit that, that would be absolutely amazing. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new and not already subscribed, and let's just keep talking about it. So first gunfight, that's how it started off, obviously with the tack shotgun. Now you'll see people, and what I talk about people avoiding it is that you tend to not see most people using this towards the mid to late game or anything like that. Now I will stick with this weapon until usually I get a decent pump, and then I upgrade to that, and then usually I'm looking for a combat eventually to, if you can end the game with a purple or a gold combat, those are pretty much the best. I do like the blue pump as well, and it depends on how I'm feeling, but usually a purple and gold combat can be even better. So second gunfight over here, I see these players fighting. This first guy gets some good damage in, and he immediately goes for the chug splashes, which are of course a very fast and efficient healing item. This guy eventually drops down on me, which is lucky for me because I didn't even have any builds to reinforce my builds there or even to get the high ground on that player, so kind of was hoping that he would drop down on me. I didn't panic, and I took my time with that shot, once again using that purple tack, understanding that when players drop in on you, this is what I talk about on my how to aim better video, not panicking and taking that extra split second there to make your shot can be very effective. Right there again with attack, I take that first shot, I miss it, the second shot I line it up, and boom, once again 134, hitting for big damage. So like I said, the tack shotgun, while it's not my favorite and it's probably not the community's favorite, I mean I'm sure a lot of people love it for close range engagements, but overall if you use it to its specialty and understand it, you see how I baited those players, or at least that second player, to dropping down because I knew I had no mats. Also my shotgun made that engagement and that gunfight very easy for me. Coming out here now, I upgrade to the blue pump, and I get big damage, 126 damage onto that player over there, but then I start to get third party from this side. So obviously I want to stop here and I want to back up and heal. So what I do here is I create space in between me and the target which is shooting at me, and by doing that is I not only block off with the walls there, I back up and back up a sort of a 1x1 and build behind that, so you have walls in front of you and behind. Usually that makes players give up on the spamming. Now I wanted to put the pressure on that player, so that's why I threw that first stink bomb, second stink bomb down here to try to find out where this player is. I kind of whiff my shots there with the AK, which will happen sometimes, and I drop in and finish off this player. Now I didn't know where the other player was. I was assuming this was the player from the side of me, just because based off the skin, which honestly I'm the worst at keeping track of players based off their skin, like in game, but if you can be good at that, that can be I guess something good to do. It's obviously a lot easier said than done. I'm looking around here for the other player, but I believe the other player was more, I guess you could say, south from me, or yeah, maybe southwest a little bit, and he ended up probably rotating to the zone and getting out of that fight, which is kind of weird, especially with he was joining in a fight where both players were weak, third party, and usually that's when you want to capitalize. Obviously that guy's agenda was to probably move on and go for the win instead of going for some kills. So here we are, 23 players left, and I have 4 kills, and I'm on the rotation, and I see a player rotating in front of me, and I'm not sure where this player is. I'm assuming that he stops in this bush to heal for some reason. That was just a random guess out of my brain. There was no tactical decision making behind that, so I keep pushing up, and I'm of course being cautious. Eventually I do notice this player behind the tree, and I'm making my way, and I'm sort of closing the gap, much like I did earlier where I created spacing. I'm trying to do the opposite and sort of close the spacing in by not taking damage from this player, because I do have what, like 150 health, which seems like a lot. You know, most players usually have 150 or 200 going into engagements, but 150 still, you can get melted super quick with like 2 shots from the combat, or you know, a heavy sniper or something like that. So this player actually takes out that player that I was approaching. So now my fight sort of switched, where I'm fighting not the player in front of me, but this player over at the Dusty Depot. Now, once again, I create double spacing between me and this player, take my time and heal up. And this is where I talk about this a lot in Season 10. Playing defensive is pretty strong. Like right here, this player rushes me. I don't panic because I have enough mats to hold a 1-by-1. I just basically base up here and I take my time, and I'm only going to take on this engagement when I want to. Now, it's awesome because I'm healing from my slurp, but I'm also waiting. I'm watching what this player has in his hands. I'm listening to the gun patterns, what's happening, and boom. When I see the time fit, I'm making an edit play. And the cool thing about owning the wall and when you're making the move is, of course, they can see what's in your hand, you can see what's in their hand, but you have the move. You can edit and make a hole in the middle of it. You can make, of course, a 3 normal L-shaped edit, or you can do that top swipe edit right there, and I popped that guy for 170, which was absolutely crazy. Playing defensive, as long as you have materials, don't be too worried about it, unless you're against a mech, which you want to create space. If you're against another just, character player, that can be a really good strategy. So next position here, I have 5 kills. I'm rotating in, and I realize I want to, 2 players are fighting down here. I want to get these kills, but I also want to continue moving on because the zone is pushing us. So I fall down here a little bit further than I expected, but as soon as I hear mad shots coming down, that's when I sort of go full send and go all in. First player I take out easily because he is weak, but the second fight, I sort of just assumed, because of the positioning, because of how many shots were firing off and how long it looked like this fight had taken, that player would not be at least max health. Of course, when you're going into an open fight of just a player out in the open, standing in the field or in a town, they're usually going to have 150 or 200 health. But when I was third party in that fight, I sort of assumed maybe that player would be a little weaker. Like the first player I killed, which was just boom, 1 shot for white damage with the blue pump. The second player was a little bit more difficult there, and that guy, of course, had full 200 health, which I hit the body shot with the pump and then sprayed him down body shots with the SMG. It ended up working out, but that was a little bit too close for comfort, and that, of course, was based off that assumption. Here we go right here. This guy, of course, kind of just clueless, trying to rotate in, and honestly, that was pretty much a free kill. Right here, I get big damage in there, so double 60s plus a 30. Hit this guy for 150, which means this guy is 50 health or less, and I want to immediately push up on this player. However, I do still know there's one more player up there, of course, northeast, I guess it is, from me, and then there was the other player who was shooting at the player on the snowboard as well. So I'm cautiously moving in, and that's where this player decides to push me. I want to go for high ground against this player, but I realize my position here is a little bit more, I need to take a little more cautious approach, and I probably shouldn't have stalled for time, and I should have rotated a little quicker. I decided to go for that rotation, and this is where, at this point, I'm not really looking for a straight-on gunfight. I'm just trying to play defensive, and it's about positioning. I'm rotating, and I'm tunneling into this zone to make sure that I'm going to be in this zone before these players, and that I can, fight on my own terms once again, bring the fight to me. So I get a kill right here based on, I think, the player that I damaged earlier. He ends up dying in the storm, and then the other player who was on top of me ends up rotating out somehow, and I end up sliding across the ice towards more of the late game, which, when we have more of the late game, was positioned with 4 players left. I, of course, still had 9 kills, and here is where I got sort of lucky with the zone, which is very important nowadays, but still having an idea of how to rotate either mats, a jump pad, or something is awesome. But when the zone is right on top of you, that is such a big relief nowadays. Of course, so I'm in the position of sort of gatekeeper, where I realize 3 players left, which means me and 2 enemies. One's up here, and one's down a little bit to the left, right on top of the sort of ice rink. And at this position, I have ammo is not going to be an issue, right? I have 600 ammo. So in this gunfight, I want to put as much pressure on these players as I can. Of course, hitting for damage like that, 50 damage, that could be crucial. That could either burn minis or burn some other sort of healing item, or even go straight to the health if they don't have other healing items. Of course, even just doing this, trading my ammo essentially for their builds, will help me for the eventual gunfight when it comes down to it, because they will have hopefully less health, but even if not less health, definitely less mats, and you can see them burning through material. So right here, this guy goes for the jump pad. I want to get some damage in, but I realize, oh my goodness, the zone is moving, and of course that guy's going to land on top of those icebergs. I'm going to be in sort of a bad position, and this is where I realized that maybe I should have had my plan a little bit better in my head of rotating. I thought that those players would be a lot easier and I could gatekeep, but of course jump pad sort of takes that away, and that's why having those mobility items like that player had was crucial. If that guy didn't have a jump pad, I of course probably would have made this ending a lot easier. So So now I'm in a position where I'm just rotating and making sure to try to take the least amount of damage that I can. If I do take a little bit, it's okay because I can mini up, but I'm just playing the low ground here, trying to wait for my opportunity essentially. And that's a big thing in this season, like I talked about earlier, playing defensive until it's your opportunity to go for the gunfight, which I see my opportunity right here. This player ends up building up, and I see a chance to shoot this guy down. And as soon as I do shoot another player down, I go and retake the high ground. I realize I'm running out of materials, so I probably have to end this fight right here. Jump, shoot, and I was going to catch myself with my last match there. I end up doing it anyway to win those last 2 gunfights. Playing that low ground, protecting myself, and really turning that switch from defense to offense is such a key in this season and will help you win those gunfights, those build fights, and get more wins in this season. Drop a like if you made it to the end of the video. I would really appreciate that. Subscribe and check out some of my other vids, and that's about it. I'm out. Peace.